So what's the difference between an acoustic guitar and an electric guitar, and which one should you buy? Today I'm going to give you everything you need to know. Let's start with the acoustic guitar. There's a lot of immediate benefits to an acoustic guitar over an electric guitar, and the most apparently obvious one is how portable it is. With an acoustic guitar, you don't need anything else to set it up, just the guitar itself. And that's because the sound of an acoustic guitar is made through its hollow structure. Because the body is a chamber, you don't need any kind of extra amplification. And while there are some types of acoustic guitars that offer you extra amplification or plug-in capabilities, they're always the more flexible of the two. For the body to be hollow and create that extra volume, it has to be a lot bigger. And while you can find smaller versions of acoustic guitars, the body shapes will always be a little bit bigger than electric guitars. It's still likely that you can find one to fit your size, but remember that as you reduce the body size for comfortability, you're going to lose a lot of the volume, bass, and depth of the sound. Acoustic guitars are made up of multiple sections of wood, including the top piece of wood, the sides, and the back. When you hear people talk about tone woods and the effect that they have on the guitar, this matters a lot more on the acoustic. The different types of woods that you can get on the top, back, and sides vastly impact the sound, volume, and the projection of the guitar. And so you'll see a lot of wide variation in the sounds of acoustic guitars. Not to mention the fact that as wood ages, the sound also changes. Looking for the right shape, wood, and age of the guitar is way more important on the acoustic than the electric. While electric guitars can be made of completely wacky shapes, sizes, and materials and still maintain a consistent sound. And acoustic guitar strings are a little bit thicker than electric guitar strings. This, along with the way that acoustic guitars are made, means that the strings have more tension on them, which makes them harder to press down and harder to bend. To compensate for these size strings and the way that you play, the neck widths on acoustic guitars are often a little bit bigger too, which means your hands are going to have to stretch just a little bit more and press just a little bit harder. A lot of people pick the acoustic guitar as their first guitar, but often when they move to an electric guitar after that, they start to think to themselves, wow, the electric guitar is a lot easier to play. And since playability is really important as a beginner guitar player, you might want to consider these differences when you pick whether you want to start with an acoustic or an electric. Tonally speaking, steel string acoustics have a very classic sound. It's brassy and plucky because the only thing that's being projected is the actual sound of the strings in your fingers. And while the steel string acoustic is used in many styles of music, if you're a guitar player that likes the sound of country, folk, pop, or singer-songwriter music, then the acoustic guitar is probably the one for you. So let's swap to the electric guitar. Even as you pick one up, there are tons of differences that you can notice. First off, they tend to be a lot heavier than acoustic guitars, and that's because they're made out of solid pieces of wood rather than hollow ones. Sometimes the wood is perforated or semi-hollow, but most electric guitars are referred to as solid body guitars. And the reason why is because you don't actually need any hollow space for resonance, because the majority of a sound of an electric guitar actually comes from the pickups. Pickups are just magnet coils down here that convert the vibrations from the strings into electrical signals, and then send them to a guitar amplifier, which is something you're going to need if you have an electric guitar. Because there's no resonant chamber, electric guitars are incredibly quiet when you try to play them without an amp, which can be okay for practice, but it'll never sound that good. So alongside the electric guitar comes some other expenses. And while starter electrics and starter acoustics can begin at the same price range, maybe somewhere around $100 to $200, with an acoustic you can just buy it and take it out of the shop, whereas with an electric guitar you're also going to have to buy an amp and a cable, which can double the initial starting price. But you can hear immediately the benefits of a guitar that can be amplified. The sound is instantly loud without me having to play loud with my fingers, which can translate in your advanced years to effortless speed and clarity, which would be a lot more difficult on the acoustic guitar. And as I mentioned earlier, electric guitars are the easiest guitar to play. By far, if you're having difficulty with things like bar chords, stretching, and finger clarity, the electric guitar is going to be the easiest to play. With one caveat. Everything about the electric guitar is the opposite of what I said about the acoustic. There's no hollow chamber, which means the body can be really slim and can be very elegant. And it makes it very easy to hold and very comfortable. The string sizes are thinner, which means that these necks can be thinner too. So if you have bigger hands, you might want to try to find an electric guitar with a wider fretboard, because typically speaking, your fingers just have a little less room on an electric guitar. Having your sound translated into a digital box has a lot of extra benefits. Not just the added volume and ease of play, but you also have all the different sound effects that you can add on to your guitar right away, which can immediately transform your sound. You could hear that the style of music that I was playing there was vastly different than anything I'd be able to recreate on an acoustic guitar. So if you're into any kind of music with more saturated or effects-driven sounds, like rock, metal, blues, indie, or alternative, you might want to pick up an electric guitar instead. Many electric guitars will also give you additional gadgets and options. For example, floating bridges that allow you to take the sound and dip it at will. Or these knobs down here that control the pickups and the EQ section. EQ just meaning that you can adjust the spectrum of your sound. And being able to control the volume from a knob on your guitar is also incredibly useful. Like I said before, because electric guitars aren't hollow, the majority of the sound is coming from the pickups, which means that the shape of the body, the size of the guitar, and even the weight don't actually matter as much as you think when it comes to the sound. The most important thing is that you like the sound of the actual pickups on the guitar and that you like the way the guitar looks and feels. There's a lot more flexibility with the electric guitar versus how it's going to impact the sound. The final thing I'll mention is that electric guitars are made to play very high. The classic sound of a guitar solo is normally done on an electric guitar, because electric guitars have an extended fret range. This electric guitar goes all the way down to 24 frets, whereas a lot of acoustics can stop at 20, but can be very difficult to play even after the 12th fret. This, plus the pretty typical deep cutaway design of electric guitars, allows me to access really high notes that I wouldn't be able to on an acoustic. So of course, if you're looking for those kinds of sounds, then you should be looking at an electric guitar. Hopefully this explained all of the major differences between the two. If you think there was something that I left out, go ahead and leave it in the comments below. Make sure to like, save, share, and comment, and follow this account for more guitar tips and advice. And I'll see you guys next time.